Hello and welcome to the Did I Stutter podcast, here with Jake, Comrade and the BFV. This is our second episode.
Right?
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah. I wish I could say the same.
Ouch. You live here. Anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, has anyone been checking out the news recently and seeing about this Extinction Rebellion protest?
Are those the protests in London? They're going about climate change.
Yeah, yes, that is.
Pretty mad, isn't it? Still going on, actually.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, it's been going on for quite a while now.
Yeah.
It's 9:30 now, and there's still people out there.
Yeah. I meant more days. Yeah, they've been arresting people and then obviously letting them back out, and then as soon as they come back out, they just
go straight
back to the protest. So pretty crazy.
But apparently at the minute there's 100 people that have just laid down in under the blue whale skeleton in the Natural History Museum. Just lay down.
I mean, if you're going to go for a nap anywhere, that's a pretty decent one.
Oh yeah.
But no, they are obviously protesting for a great cause.
We'll talk about night at the museum.
Exactly.
I wonder if they're still there.
So climate change is a big thing that's happening every single second, all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, 12 years to start sorting out.
Well, we've already changed the climate irreversibly.
Well, yes,
It's
yes.
just to minimise that that change.
Yeah, because if we go, if the average temperature goes up by more than 2 degrees in the next 12 years, I believe, then, or is it? I could be wrong with that number, but then we are screwed forever. That you are right; it's already irreversible, but we are screwed forever if it gets past a certain point.
We're apparently already past that point. The tipping point's already gone. All we can do now is damage control to make sure everything doesn't go to hell.
Yeah, and I'd definitely rather sort it out, as much as we can. And this is the thing, that there have been findings for quite a while that have, for years, for decades, have said climate change is real, this is happening, and people have swept that under the rug and hidden it away from the public for ages. And obviously we've known now for a long time, but still not enough is being done.
The thing is, it's a tough one to go for, because it's not something that you just notice. With a lot of problems, you can notice it, and you're like, okay, we need to do something about this. But 1 or 2 degrees isn't really a big deal to most people, and it doesn't happen straight away. We're not seeing, we are seeing the effects of it now, but we're not seeing the actual worse effects.
I think the issue is the effects we are seeing are just a bit weird. You've got this time last year it was snowing.
Yeah.
When people say climate change, they expect half of our beaches to be engulfed in the ocean.
Yeah.
Rather than it gets a bit snowy, which is all general people see about it. But it's a knock-on effect that's going to grow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And there isn't going to be a day when our beaches just suddenly disappear. It's going to be over years.
Yeah.
And it's going to kind of take us by surprise. Once you realise our beaches are gone,
it's too late.
Yeah.
I agree. There's even places, I can't remember where, I feel like it's Miami, I could be completely wrong, but it's somewhere in America. The mayor has had to already basically put out, make some changes and basically put flood barriers in around the city, because already they're starting to get floods, and if they don't do it now, they're going to be...
That sounds like Miami or California.
Yeah, it was pretty mad actually, but it's, like I say, it's one of those problems that there's no easy solution.
Yeah, so a lot of the big oil companies and so on are obviously big deniers of climate change. Not all of them, but a lot are, because they obviously make a profit off oil and fossil fuels and whatnot. So a lot of people come out and say, how can it be global warming when the winters are the coldest it's been on record or whatever. And obviously that's why we use the words climate change now, because it's an all year round change. It's hotter in the summer, it's colder in the winter. We don't want to just misalign what it is. And for example, Donald Trump is a big denier of global warming. He pulled out of the Paris Agreement. Was that a couple of years ago now? Close to when he first became president, right?
Yeah. That was silly though, because he's not, like, the Paris Agreement wasn't forcing anyone to do anything.
No.
It was just basically
It's an agreement that we'll try.
Yeah, it was an agreement that we'll try, and there wasn't any penalties if no one, like, if the countries that had signed up couldn't meet the agreement. It was literally a good faith agreement to say we are trying to do something.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't get it. It just seems backwards to just all of a sudden say, actually, we can get a better deal for our country.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not for the country, it's for the whole world.
Yeah, so it was voluntarily saying that we'll reduce emissions, right? That was what it was all about.
Yeah. Like, strive to get, like, greener forms of electricity production and stuff like that.
Yeah. And obviously there is many ways to do that, like solar panels, wind turbines, and obviously they're not 100% efficient. They're not the only way that we'll survive at the minute with our needs.
They're not gonna, like, unless everyone got solar panels or everyone got wind turbines on the houses, and solar panels, you're probably not going to meet the needs of everyone.
But then even
that's a good way to start.
Even that poses a huge issue because you need space for these, so that's going to be a destruction of land and habitats.
True. Oh yeah, definitely.
The main issue is our energy consumption is only going to go up, and the means of production of energy isn't really getting anywhere.
Although that's a good point that you said. But they are getting closer to nuclear fusion. But only, like, probably a few years closer. It's still going to take decades.
Yeah.
But I was reading about AI. Apparently AI is going to be used to try and help improve and speed up the efficiency of nuclear fusion. And if that happens, like, it's going to change, hopefully change everything. It may not, because they may still charge us loads, but, you know, who knows? Hopefully it would be good for everyone, and at least if nuclear fusion does take off, you know, cheaper energy.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So I actually researched something quite impressive the other. It was about a couple of weeks ago now. So obviously there is a big issue with climate change and our food production. So this is going to go along with the meat production line, and we're going to go on to something else in a minute about that. But I just thought this was a really cool thing that not enough people will know about, but I think it should be known. So, you know seaweed, right?
Yeah.
Tasty little thing at Chinese. There's a special sort of seaweed that is very different to that. But they are using that. They've started doing research as a supplement for this. And they are putting it in cattle food. Very small amounts. It was...
Okay.
I can't remember the exact figures, but it was like 0.1 or 0.9 % of this seaweed or something.
Yeah.
Ridiculously small. And they were putting it in the normal cattle feed. And what a lot of people say about cows is when they produce methane, they obviously fart it out. That's what they say when you're younger. But it's actually, they burp it out. It comes out of their mouth. So the way that they did it, they fed these cows this food with this supplement on it, and then they walked the cows into like a mask, and then they measured the levels of methane that came out, right?
It's just funny imagining all these cows with masks.
I know, like Bane cows. But they did this, and they found out that it reduced the levels of methane like drastically, almost completely gone. There were still bits, there always is, but the supplement reacted in the gut, and in the stomach and in the gut, so it produced a lot less methane. So that is one big complaint about the food industry.
Yeah, that our consumption of meat is driving up the requirement to have more livestock, and obviously more livestock creates more methane in the air.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah,
global
the
warming.
problem is just meat is so tasty.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I know I should eat less of it.
But
because
I really
eat-
want a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I just love meat.
Yeah. So the thing is with meat is it takes a lot more land to produce a certain amount of meat than and for certain for everyone.
Yeah, it
But
takes a lot of energy as well. 'cause
Yeah.
you've got
Yeah.
to like in producing like plants for human consumption. You get the energy from the sun,
Mhm.
and then you eat it.
Yeah.
Whereas for animals, you have to get the energy from the sun into the plants, which then obviously is get fed to animals. So you in a sense you are using not only energy but like you say a lot more land
Yes.
just to do this. But like I say, I just really like cheeseburgers.
So this is the thing. We are omnivores. We have evolved to eat meat and to eat vegetation. So I like a bit of both. I like a varied diet. I do eat not enough vegetables. I think I'm one of the people that doesn't, and I think that's most of us that aren't vegetarian or vegan.
I definitely don't eat enough veg.
Yeah,
yeah, I
and-
don't.
and I'm very aware of it, and I want to start cutting down on my meat consumption, but I have to find a good replacement. And like it has to be tasty enough, and also with my work, with my gym routine, all this kind of stuff, I want enough protein
Yeah.
in my diet, and I want enough iron in my diet so I'm not tired, and all these things, and a lot of it you get from meat.
Oh yeah, you get
I'm
a lot of nutrients.
Very interested in the development of lab-grown meat.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really cool, isn't it? Like I was looking at it, and apparently, like they have actually made the first burger, and someone's eaten it.
Yeah.
That has been
That
purely
didn't come
lab
from
grown.
any
Yeah.
animal.
No, that's really cool actually. I think lab grown meat. Well, there's a need for it. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we'll have factories full of meat that's just being grown. Maybe not, but I think there is a need for it. I also once read an article. I think it was in the New Scientist magazine. It was a very long time ago, but they were on about using insects instead of meat.
Oh yes,
And
Yeah.
yes.
like that's the thing. If we could, it sounds awful, doesn't it?
Insects do contain a lot of protein. They're just
Yeah.
wriggly enough.
And they take
Yeah.
up so much less space. I think the only I remember reading it and thinking, yeah, if we could actually like get over our fear of eating insects, perhaps that would be a good substitute for meat. However, no one really thinks. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people do think that a cricket is appetizing.
There are some
But-
cultures that enjoy eating insects.
Yeah, true.
We used to go to science shows, didn't we? And
Oh, yeah.
and I used to love the mealworms. They cooked them, they spiced them. It was
Actually, yeah,
so
they were actually
good.
quite nice.
They were tasty. But yeah, carry on.
But yeah, like with that, it'd be a really good substitute. It's just our kind of culture of getting over that fear of eating insects. But then I also did read that there was the possibility of, because there'd be so many insects crammed into a small space, basically essentially a farm, it's likely to actually cause disease.
Yeah,
you know,
disease. Because
that's the thing.
that's the thing that happens, like potato famine and all this kind of stuff. Like a lot, like bananas have been wiped out. Certain
Yeah.
strains of bananas. Sorry. So I want to talk quickly about climate change to do with veganism.
Okay.
Because I saw something earlier, and I don't know how many people be interested or whatever. But
Controversial topic.
it's a controversial topic, and I've got to be very careful. But I do agree with veganism. If you want to do it for health, you want to do it for the environment, that's fine.
Yeah,
Just 'cause
personal views.
Just because I eat meat, I don't care what you eat, as long as you don't try and force me to do something that I'm not ready to do yet. But I saw a tweet earlier, and it got me quite angry, and I'll explain why after I read it. So this is, I'm not going to say who it's from or anything, but so it's a tweet that says, "This has to be said. I don't understand meat eaters who demand politicians take action over climate change when they are unwilling to take action. Are you vegan yet? Question mark. It's the most effective way to reduce your carbon footprint. Until you're willing to act, don't expect others to." So this got me quite angry, because she was saying that that just because I eat meat, I am not allowed to have an opinion on climate change. I'm not allowed to say that I want this. I want to reduce my carbon footprint, just because I eat meat. This is what made me angry.
Yeah.
And then I don't feel like that's necessarily what she was going for, but that is what she said. But she literally said, "I don't understand meat eaters who demand politicians take action over climate change when they are unwilling to change themselves. I am changing. Whenever I leave the room, I make sure that I'm conscious to turn the light off. I don't want to drive as many places or drive for reasons that are unnecessary, like going to the chip shop down the road." Okay, everyone's done that, right? Everyone's done that. Come on. But like, I don't want to do these silly things that burn fossil fuels, that take up energy that is unnecessary because it's bad for the planet. And I am changing.
You don't want to support a culture that is wasteful in its usage of animal products.
That is exactly right. And the thing to do with that I find bigger than meat production in climate change is just the wastefulness of us, which is what you said, in meat and with normal foods. So we chuck away a lot of vegetables that are considered to be ugly. They are perfectly fine to eat, but they do not look right, so we bin them.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there is things left on the shelves that get chucked, and that is being wasted. They could go to people that need to eat, or we could cut back on oversaturation of the markets.
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of oversaturation. Like, I always think it's really sad when I know the best before date is, there to, protect people, but it does seem a little bit wasteful when as soon as that day's up,
wherever it just
in the shops gets just dumped. And that's the thing, like, I know a lot of people don't like eating it, but a few days out of date, I don't mind, something like that. But the problem is, I don't know whether it's the culture or policies. Maybe that will change. Maybe as we kind of, go on, maybe the governments will say, okay, perhaps this food that is, just being thrown away could be taken to places like homeless shelters or other stuff like that.
Or even composting.
Oh yeah, in fact, composting would actually be really good, because I'm pretty sure most of it's not composted.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know.
The food still has to break down.
Yeah, it's a safety thing.
Produces.
Really, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But everyone's ate something that's like a day or two out of date.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've eaten something that's a week out of date.
Well,
and it's been fine.
This is the thing. Best before dates are actually a guideline. They are just like this. They are not. You can't eat this. That's your use before date. Best before is. It's best before, literally what it says.
Yeah. Usually after the best before date, that's when the food starts to break down and look a bit naff. That's when you get cakes that drop or biscuits that goes, okay, they're still edible, but they're not in their prime.
Yeah, you have to obviously be aware of when they are unedible, and that is the case, but they obviously aren't always bad straight after the best before date. But to do with this tweet, I put something on my Instagram because like I said, it got me quite angry, but I had quite a few people react to it, right? So some people very much agreed with what I said, which was just basically what I've said here, that there is a lot of things that contribute, and the biggest thing is oil and fossil fuel burning. That is the main thing. But I had one person that was a vegan talk to me very politely. We had a great discussion, short, but it was very good. And she put her point across, and she decided to eat meat. Decided not to eat meat to help the planet, which is a fantastic reason if that's what you want to do. And she was just saying that like eating meat is a choice as well as not eating meat. People preach about climate change, but they always forget that the meat production is part of it.
Oh yeah,
which,
definitely.
Like they do. A lot of people just forget.
Even I forget. Like, you have to really think about it. It's because you don't go out there and we're very detached from where our food comes from. Like, I mean, I feel like we're quite lucky that we live close to farms.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, a lot of people, like when I went to uni, you know, hadn't seen a farm and hadn't seen animals that were being used for food or anything like that. And it does seem like quite a shame sometimes because you forget that. And, you know, whether you agree with it or not, it is a crucial part of not only our economy, but how we get our food. But nowadays we just pick up a packet of chicken on the shelf.
Yeah. People
Just
seem
go
to think
to-
that food just doesn't appear on our store shelves. It actually comes from somewhere. There's a whole supply chain to bring us there. Then we throw it away after we don't eat it within time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to touch on more, but we've been talking about this for quite a while, so I think we'll move on in a second.
So from one bad thing to something possibly even worse.
Oh, worse.
The Sri Lankan attacks.
Yeah.
Monarch.
Yeah.
God, that was awful.
Yeah. So there obviously has been almost 300 people killed in a terrorist attack in Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sad.
It's terrible.
Well,
Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's but so there was Conrad. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was 7 bombs that went off.
7 in total. Yeah.
7 that went off and 1 that didn't.
Yeah, they found. Well, I read up on it. They found a suspicious package in a church, which obviously can only be one thing. You don't. After a string of, there were 3 hotels and 4 Christian and Catholic churches, and a 5th Catholic church with a suspicious package inside. It's very likely that was also a bomb. Nothing's been released because everything's still trying to keep it on the wraps about.
I know. I get why they're doing that, because at the end of the day, you know, it can sometimes jeopardise investigations.
You
and
don't
give out
broadcast
too
to the world
much.
that you're telling the criminals that you're coming from.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. I think sometimes it is a shame when, because we've had that in the UK where I'm pretty sure someone leaked something to do with an investigation. I can't remember who, but I think it was a different country that leaked something to do with one of our investigations.
And then you have
And we were
things like
why would you do that? I know it's different in your country, like to leaking it to the press, but like, why?
yeah. And then you have stuff in like 4chan where not 4chan, Reddit with the Boston bombings. They had photos of this one guy. He had a backpack with him, and they saw him like 3 different photos, and they were convinced that he was the Boston bomber. Turned out just to be some guy that wanted to go to the Boston Marathon to watch.
Yeah.
And Reddit plastered him as the bummer, while the real bummer, he didn't get away, he got caught eventually.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But time and resources were spent on this guy rather than the proper guy because
Of the
some
internet.
guys on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say sometimes it is. No, the internet is really useful and it can actually.
Sorry.
Nice one. And it can actually be quite useful because I've been reading a lot of Reddit, like subs and stuff like that, where basically they'll see this like unsolved mystery and then people will try and figure out what's going on. And it's really cool. I don't know whether any of them actually. I think some got solved, but I don't know which ones. We'll have to maybe talk about some of them one day because they're quite an interesting topic. But yeah, no, it can be really good, but it obviously. I think sometimes you've got to be careful with it, not to divulge too much information to people, otherwise like mass hysteria can get whipped up.
You see on these, whenever an unfortunate attack happens like this and Reddit blows up with all this stuff, the top post is usually because a lot of people have ham radios, they can listen to police broadcasts.
Oh yeah.
The top comments are always, don't tell anyone about police broadcasts, because the police are obviously trying to coordinate and catch people.
Yeah.
If people are plastering it all over the internet, the attackers can read that and be a step ahead.
Yeah.
And it's just awful. Like,
yeah, like
I know that's a weird, like a rubbish thing to say, but it is. It's just awful that we have this so much in the world, and obviously, like, this probably isn't the most violent time in the world, but
no, things are
always
statistically getting better.
It's just the media. We have the ability to broadcast information instantly across the world.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this is a small attack, but anything small can be blown out of proportion in an echo chamber
I
of the
definitely
internet.
wouldn't say this is a small attack.
this
Is
quite
pure
clear.
terrorism to attack Christian and Catholic churches on Easter.
yeah,
The
Yeah,
hotels were to drive up the numbers dead, but the whole thing was purely to hurt.
Yeah, like with the timing, it definitely is. Like, you can definitely say it's planned. It's not something that's been just kind of, I don't know, like something that isn't just kind of popped up.
yeah.
But then again, we still don't know who the attackers are. I know I think they've arrested some people in regards to
Apparently, it's been released that it was. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, but the National Tawhid Jamaat, which is a local radical Islamist group.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So this apparently I'm not certain yet.
And this is the thing. As soon as anything like this happens, you have like people that will, most good people, will just come together, but it does sometimes do what it's meant to do and divide people and cause more like racism, more anger, more hatred, which is not productive. I don't
can see why it happens though. That's the thing. Like, something that significant, I can see why people get that angry. But hopefully it'll pull people together.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be able to, because I think there's obviously a problem not only with religious extremism, but
Political
extremism, where people are getting radicalised, and we need to try and work out how to counteract that and try and prevent that.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing to do though, let's face it, especially with the fact that you can talk to anyone across the world straight away.
You can have it encrypted, your messages, so no one can see what you've sent.
And even if it's not encrypted, you can always talk in code. There are 1,000,001 ways to talk in secret and plan something.
Yeah.
And there's laws going around, the Free Speech Act and all these new neutrality laws that we fought through a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
All this is trying to, they say, to stamp that out, but there's a lot more going on behind the scenes.
With the net neutrality thing going on in America, that's such a shame.
I think that's an episode on its own.
Yeah,
that is such a shame that that's happened.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a separate episode.
That's the thing.
It's
difficult to try and counteract people becoming radicalised.
You don't know when it's happening and who it's happening to.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you don't want to take away the rights of privacy, but then you also want to keep people safe.
Yeah.
And it's finding that balance, and to be honest, I don't have the answer. Let's face it, I won't ever have that answer.
Oh, no.
Because I think, we should be able to use encrypted acts, we should be able to use Tor, stuff like that, because I think it's important that we have the ability to do it, but then at the same time, where do you draw the line? Like, at what point do you say, okay, people are getting hurt, and you say only for certain people, but then obviously you've got to define who they are, and then that becomes a problem in itself, because you don't want to just say, well, you've got the right to use it, but then you guys don't. That's not fair. It's a problem, really. It's a real problem working out what to do with that.
I've just been doing some Googling on the Sri Lanka attacks, and the president of Sri Lanka has declared a state of emergency.
Yeah.
I'm not
which
surprised.
pretty much is the goal of any terrorist, to cause emergency and panic, which is exactly what they've gone here.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, it will be.
Yeah, hopefully, obviously we wish all the families, well.
Just the whole country, really. Like,
Yeah, that's the thing. Anyone affected by it.
that's the thing. When anything happens here, like again, people come together and people give out love and stuff, but you still go somewhere and feel a little bit shaky. Like, this is a bit weird. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't think about it if it's an unusual one that's happened. Like, say, for example, the unfortunate attack at Manchester Arena. Like, I go to arenas and I feel safe, but that's because I'm in an environment with people that I know want to be there and have fun and love each other and whatever. But that's also why they pick these places.
Yeah.
I know, that's the thing. It's where you least expect
They
it.
try and attack you where you feel most safe, such as churches.
Churches, mosques. For example, that New Zealand attack, which was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I can't believe he live streamed it.
Mm-hmm.
That was awful, really. Like, because well, I mean, I wouldn't want to watch it myself.
No, I didn't watch it.
The videos are probably up on the internet, and I don't think that's a good thing for
dunno.
anyone.
Apparently, he attached it to the end of his gun. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but apparently he did that, and just horrific. Horrific scenes. But
yeah, that's the thing. You never want that to happen to anyone, and you just want to wish them, everyone affected by it.
Yeah. Shall we move on to a cheerier topic?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I've actually been looking at 3D printing recently.
Get ready, we're about to blow your socks off.
So I play a lot of D&D, and
Told you.
one of the best bits about D&D is having battles and miniatures to go along those battles. Oftentimes, in our last campaign, we had the battle against a purple worm. This was represented.
Right. That's so cool.
Right. The purple worm is a very well-known and very popular D&D creature.
Right.
It's awesome. But it was represented by
It's
a
not like the
toilet
worm
roll.
from Shazam, is it?
No.
No, okay.
No.
Sorry, carry on.
It was represented by a toilet roll tube, which we glued a pom-pom on the end of. And that was our purple worm. And when I went home, I looked at models for purple worms, and there was some that you could 3D print.
Right.
And then I found that the Humble Bundle were doing a 3D printing pack.
No.
So yeah. So it was
That's so cool.
for 15 quid. There were the files for like 150 3D models that you could print off yourself. And there were everything from environment pieces to weapons and armour to creatures to NPCs.
Oh, wicked.
And just be able to print your own campaign. And the price of 3D printers has dropped drastically in the past few years. They're down to 250, 300 quid for something you can get a proper, tangible and usable product out of.
Yeah, because they used to be like thousands of pounds.
Yeah, like 2-3 grand each.
Yeah, and I remember when they first came out, I was like, oh, I'd love to get one, but I just can't afford it, so I never think I'll actually end up getting one. And the price now is drastically, reduced.
In the next few years, it's most likely to drop even more and get even better quality out of it.
Oh, I hope so, because I
The
really want one.
applications of 3D printing are incredible as well. Have you seen the heart sleeve that they've printed?
The what?
So it's an electronic heart sleeve that works similarly to a pacemaker. So rather than being a clunky device that they plug into your heart, it's a sleeve that goes around it and is fed electrical signals. I can't pretend to know how pacemakers work.
Yeah.
But they printed a sleeve that does the same thing, takes up no space, and is, I'd imagine, quite easy to fit.
That's actually really cool.
That's so good.
Being able to 3D print it will reduce the cost quite a lot, actually. And it means that, you don't have to have like specialist equipment
Yeah.
to just produce it.
Yeah. Well, there's been quite massive leaps forward in 3D printing at the minute. There's two things. There's we'll talk about one of them in a minute. The liquid printing. That's so cool. But I found out that they are planning to use 3D printers possibly for the moon. So the way it works, it's different to normal 3D printers, but what they are doing is at the minute practicing with something that is similar to moon dust, and what it does is uses that to build blocks so they could like make a house on the moon.
So they're creating blocks out of moon dust.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
That's
we
actually really
could
cool.
build a base on the moon, and then that way it'd just be so cool. The application is amazing. We could use that on other planets, and we could terraform places easier with that, and that'd be so cool.
Especially when a lot of the cost of space travel is down to the weight of everything and the fuel. If you can use resources that are already there, that reduces the cost of travelling to the location, and hopefully with private companies' help, such as SpaceX, to make commercial space travel a reality.
Exactly. That's it's so amazing that we have the possibility to do this, and it's going to be so cool. But they have so you might be able to explain it better than me. The liquid printer thing.
Oh well, they do it with resin, and they do one where they just kind of pull it out, and they'll shoot lasers at certain spots, which solidifies the resin.
Yeah.
And then they'll kind of lift it up slowly and produce a 3D model that way. But recently they've developed it where they'll spin a vial almost of resin, and then shoot lasers as if it's mapping out a whole model, and then it solidifies at the same time, so you just instantly have your model in this resin. I don't know the actual like sciencey bits behind it. I wish I did, but that sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Just the fact you could just in one go a whole model.
If shooting lasers into a vial of resin to create a D&D character isn't living in the future, I don't know what is.
He's living in 3031 or something. Oh, 3D printers are going to be so useful.
Every day I'm more and more tempted to buy one, and it would give me an excuse to go back to using 3D modelling software as well.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, see, I do really want one, and I actually remember a few years seeing one in Aldi. Other shops are available.
A 3D printer.
Jeez.
in Aldi.
Yeah, it's
Really?
crazy, isn't it? Like, because they always have like Aldi and
some weird
Lidl.
stuff
Other
there.
shops are available. Do have like random things sometimes. Like they have kayaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember one year just seeing that they'd got a 3D printer, and I was like, maybe I should buy it. But I was like, it can't be that
How
great,
much was
surely.
it?
I actually have no idea. I can't remember. But I remember thinking that I didn't expect to see that in Aldi.
Yeah, I can't kind of imagine going down to Aldi, buying a jar of coffee, some frozen food, and a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Well, I bought a workout bench once. Never used it, but I bought it. I'll just go to the gym instead. No, but there's someone that I follow on Instagram. I don't know what their name is. I just see their pictures every so often, and they cosplay a lot, and they 3D print armor of like superheroes out, so they can cosplay as these heroes at Comic-Con and all these big events. It's so cool.
I'd love to be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't know who would I.
Actually,
Like 3D print a Thor costume or something. Well, no one near big enough to be Thor, but it'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
Skinny Thor.
The issue then you get with 3D printing is the stability and strength of the resins you use.
Yeah.
For something like a little model, which is fine, which is not really moving around, there's no moving parts. But when you get to usable products, there have been a lot of advances in the strength of 3D printing. Because they're 3D printing gears and moving parts for sensitive machines, because they work under low stress, but need to be replaced quite often. So didn't they 3D when 3D printers first came around, they made a model of a gun that was actual
and
working.
it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, because like they were trying to ban it.
Yeah.
Oh, they
and-
released the blueprint, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they released the blueprint for free, I think.
But then the issue is, once it gets on the internet and someone has it, it's there for
I know,
forever.
Yeah, you kind of not.
You
get
can't
rid
delete
of
it off everyone's computer at the same time.
No.
Yeah. Did you know that they've actually 3D printed the first heart using human cells?
No.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
the thing. Like,
When was that?
that was like a few days ago.
Is this the beginning of home surgery? Can I do a heart transplant myself?
Thing is,
Dad, can you
that's,
help me?
Like, that actually does help out so many people,
Mhm.
because you could just use people's cells,
And no
grow
waiting
them
list.
an organ, yeah, and there's no waiting list. They get something that's actually
Compatible
compatible with the body,
Yeah.
so they don't have to take immunosuppressants, and then it basically saves a lot. Well, hopefully, obviously they're gonna have to do trials.
Oh,
And
of
stuff.
course, yeah.
They're probably not going to be allowed to just put this in someone. From what I think I've seen of the photos, it is a tiny heart, so it wouldn't power much at the minute. But like,
It's a start.
it's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
step in the right direction. But I know there's, with everything to do with healthcare, there's always going to be a lot of regulations
Yeah.
and safety procedures to make sure.
Especially when
Very
anything's
safe.
going into a live human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a million and one things you have to consider.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like I say, it's still really cool. It's just like
Yeah.
you can 3D print food.
Mhm.
I saw actually as well. I think it was last week. I saw that a company has started 3D printing houses.
Oh, is this the one for the giant cement
Yeah.
tubes? Yeah, I saw
It's
that.
not like well, it is kind of a 3D printer, isn't it?
Hmm.
Like I suppose it is a proper 3D printer, just massive and using cement instead of
Hmm.
plastic. And
The houses didn't look particularly great, but as a start,
yeah, but
being
that's
able
the thing.
to send over small amounts of product and just build in houses, even if they look a bit naff,
Yeah, I
put them
think-
into third world countries, this is more than they'd normally get.
Yeah.
yeah.
In
I mean,
favelas and stuff.
Mhm.
Like,
I think it takes like what, a few hours to build this house
Yeah.
compared to like a few days really for a normal house.
And the labour costs as well drastically reduced.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong, but I feel like it at least help, and I think as well, even in the UK, we need affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
While they're not great,
Yeah.
they're not huge.
house prices are going up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do with some decent cheap houses.
Yeah.
So hopefully, someone might think, okay, let's 3D print a load of houses, make them dead cheap. First time buyers, come along, and people can actually get out and actually start, moving out instead of having to save so much
Yeah.
just to get a deposit.
On a house that isn't particularly fit for purpose either.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. That is quite a huge problem actually at the minute. Like, everyone, I don't think I know anyone that doesn't feel kind of left behind in terms of situations with houses.
Yeah, like, I do know a few people that have like got houses now, but they finished school, got a job. Their partner also did the same, so they've earned and saved for a long while. But if you've studied at sixth form and then university, and you don't have as much savings wise, it's really hard to move out, which is a big shame because I would love to. Anyway,
It's difficult as well when you get large companies or private owners buying up houses before they're built and renting them out with no chance for first-time buyers to get onto the ladder.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing. And obviously there is a market for renting. But I know a lot of people in this country do want to buy a house. And then it's a sense of independence and getting something significant that you own. And it is an important purchase. And a lot of people just do feel like they can't do that. It's a real shame really, but that's a whole story for another day.
This isn't just happening in the UK, it's happening in the US and a lot of European countries as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And there's the old argument of millennials being lazy, but that's no excuse for anyone. It's the housing market is difficult, especially when we're running out of land to build houses on.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like houses a few decades ago were a fraction of what they are now, and obviously, depending on where you want to live, the house prices vary significantly. Like if you're in London, the house prices can be a few million. You know, obviously that's an extreme, but they are still significant, like ridiculously high. And it's like as well at Oxford, while, well, I imagine the house prices are very high as well there, but they're the most expensive place to rent in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. But then you get further up north and it gets cheaper, and
It's because of the White Walkers that
yeah, because of the White Walkers.
it's safer down south.
I mean, it is true.
Yeah.
Apparently. No, it's not.
Speaking of White Walkers, shall we talk about some Game of Thrones? Cause
Hell yeah.
we've just watched it. So we are going to have spoilers for the latest episode of Game of Thrones. So
This is where all the people watching just decide to go.
yeah, we have
Bye-bye.
2 listeners currently, and then hopefully more people later. But so if you haven't seen the latest season of Game of Thrones, or the latest episode, sorry, please turn off and go watch it. It's a fantastic episode.
Oh yeah, it's one of the best so far.
Yeah. So please go do that, and then come back and listen later. Would really appreciate that. Thank you. So, wait a second. Just give him a second. I think it's been long enough.
You've had enough time. Can we talk about Brand's line?
Which one?
The things we do for love.
Oh, we just.
Oh my god.
So the opening scene of this episode was fantastic. It started with Jamie had just arrived in Winterfell, and they were all like saying why he should or shouldn't fight or should be killed or whatever. And my God, it was good. So glad they just jumped straight into that scene.
Oh yeah.
This whole episode was fantastic. It was.
It was. There was essentially no action.
No.
But it was.
It's going back to the.
Such good character development.
It's going back to the first few seasons where there was a lot of backroom politics going on.
Yeah.
You get to see more of the characters sort of in a more natural environment. For example, you forget that Sansa is actually a really smart woman, and you see that in her conversations with Dany.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who she's starting to remind me of? Is it Elena Tyrell?
Elena Tyrell.
The old woman?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the grandma. Is it a grandma?
Yeah.
Really, like, I feel like she's kind of,
She was so smart.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
taking up that kind of role.
Yeah.
Where she is, you know, slightly less trusting than what she used to be, but she's now got the experience, you know, that she can pull from the last. Yeah.
One person's gone, so I feel like that might have been
Too much for them.
too much, and they've gone, oh damn it.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, she can now pull on the experience that she's had, and she's becoming a great leader. Like someone that the North really looks to for leadership. Really, I actually really like her character. I mean, I've really liked it.
I started to dislike her at the end of season 7, but she's really growing on me again.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't keen on her initially in the first few seasons because
She was portrayed as a brat.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was, and obviously seeing what she goes through, you really do feel for her, and obviously she's come out the end stronger.
Yeah, that is the beauty of her character. She again has a good character arc. Bratty, she wants the world. She's a lady. She gets whatever she wants, pretty much. And then she goes through all this hardship, like family death, being married off twice to people that she didn't want to for very different reasons. And obviously, one was a good husband. She almost married the king, which was awful, and then one was the worst husband in the world.
Yeah. But her story does start off as very much of a princess story, where she's a princess and she goes to marry a prince who'll be king, and they'll join the kingdoms.
Yeah.
But
it's just not Disney.
It goes wrong very quickly.
Yeah, it's just not pure, and it's a brutal story, and that's obviously why we love Game of Thrones. And that's the thing. She had some beautiful moments in this episode. For example, the start scene where Brienne defends Jamie and says that she trusts him with her life, and like Sansa trusts her with her life and stuff like that. It was really nice.
I think Brienne's gonna die in the next episode, protecting Bran, because her character arc is pretty much over. She's seen Sansa and Arya safe. She's avenged Renly's death, and she's got her heart's desire by the person she loves by being made a knight.
Yes.
She's completely fulfilled in her life. I think she's gonna die alongside Theon. I think
Theon's completely dead.
Yeah.
I think Theon's gonna die protecting Bran against the Night King. He's gonna have a chance to run, but he's going to stand strong and fight. And I think that's how he's going to die.
Yeah. And
that as well, that coming back to what you said about Sansa having great scenes, that initial scene when Theon turns up.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so moving.
So beautiful. Like, because he obviously, he's had a good story. Like,
being completely dehumanized.
Yeah, and then worrying, and but then he also saved Sansa at one point, and that's
saved his sister as well.
Yeah, and she saw that in him, and when this episode, she was like, "I'm so happy that you're here. You've done this for me, and even though he's done these bad things, which she knows about, obviously going back, but she loves him for coming back. Like, originally they were like brother and sister anyway, and then
he's finally decided that he's a Stark more than a Greyjoy.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he's willing to die for his family.
Yeah. So good.
He's willing to defend what he once took.
Oh yeah. The sad thing is though, in terms of everyone that's currently up north, I don't want a single person to die.
Yeah, but
obviously someone's going to die, and I think it would be a really disappointing end to this the whole TV show if no one dies. Because if everyone comes out all right, it would be like, so I don't understand how everyone else has got got screwed over.
Imagine what's his name again? The guy, I can't remember his name. Grey Worm.
Oh yeah.
I think he's gonna die.
Yeah.
They've put too much on their love for them to get out okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he's a soldier through and through. He's gonna fight.
Oh yeah, he will fight to the death, and he will fight to protect the girl he loves.
Yes.
There is no way.
Sandra or something. Her name I always remember and then forget.
Yeah.
There's just so many names.
yeah. That's the thing. It's especially with the first few seasons of the show. It's hard to remember the names.
And unfortunately, I think Ghost might die as well, because he's had nothing to do in this season or last season really either.
He did turn up though.
Yeah, he just stood
there. It was really nice to see him.
He stood there and watched what's his name walk up the stairs.
Yeah,
that's about all he did.
Yeah, when Ghost was on screen, we all just went, "Ghost is there!"
Yeah.
Like, he's been missing for ages, and he's there.
He just turns up when he wants.
Yeah, he's been missing for a
whole season,
at least a whole season. Yeah. So it was nice to see Ghost back. I
like how they traded Dragon, Sis, Joy, but budget for Ghost CGI.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Literally
didn't see
just
the dragons
stands there.
today. Yeah.
The dragons last episode fly everywhere. The ghost just stands there.
Yeah.
So, so with the last episode 1 of season 8, we are on season 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very much everyone grouping up and introductions and stuff, and there was still a few of those again coming back, but also it was so much more, like you said earlier, character based. There was just really nice interactions. There was Arya and Gendry.
Genji dropping the hammer.
Yeah, dropping the hammer. Like that was really well done.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that they were flirting in the last episode, and then they really like ramped it up in that scene. It was so much sexual tension.
And Arya did not do a good job of explaining her weapon in that picture, because what she drew was not a double end.
Yeah, it really was.
Spear.
No, it was not. Like when he handed her the spear, I was like,
"That's not a blowgun." She drew a blowgun and got a double-ended spear out of it.
Well, I don't know, because I think what it was a spear that you could detach in the middle.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
to have
and then
two.
perhaps.
Because she did train with a bow staff.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
sorry, I'm demonstrating
and
with my hands.
I was thinking when she was on about like, have you made my my weapon yet? I'd already forgot that she'd actually handed in these blueprints, and I was thinking, how are they gonna make a needle out of dragon glass?
Yeah,
and
especially
even
when
then,
they can't.
how is that gonna do much
Yeah.
like slashing wise? It's not gonna do a lot like that.
Just poke them to death. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what the needle does.
Yeah.
Oh, that is actually something really cool that that I've been looking out over the past couple of episodes. So you see the weapons that they make out of dragon glass, and it's very limited.
Yeah.
Like, it's axes and spearheads and like arrowheads. It's very very small.
Going
blade
back
wise.
to the napping of flint and
yeah.
very basic weapons, you can. I guess it's some sort of similarity to their using whatever they can to fight for their life. This is a primal battle.
Also, they have to do
definitely.
it very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's easier to do things like axe heads rather than try and forge a nice sword.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sure Gendry has a nice sword in the forge. He's going to pull out in the... yeah.
See,
I'm
I
sure he's got a
really
proper
liked his
dragon
hammer.
sword.
I thought his hammer
Yeah.
was well good. I was well annoyed when the hound left it above like, past the wall. I was like, what?
oh, did he? I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't remember.
I was like, that was such a nice hammer.
So it was too heavy for him to run with,
Oh,
so
yeah.
he leaves it.
yeah, but to be fair,
Let's go make another hammer.
yeah, he's a blacksmith.
Yeah,
and
he is.
At the minute, that hammer won't. It would slow them down, but it wouldn't kill them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you could make one with like a pick on the other end.
Yeah, Gendry looks buff, man.
Oh, yeah.
He was ripped. Sorry, Man Crush Monday. Did we say that in the last episode? I think we
Probably,
did.
Who was your favourite character though in this episode?
Still, Jamie.
Bran again, because how does he get where he needs to go? He just appears wherever he needs to be.
He's just magic.
In that scene in God's Wood, there were no tracks behind his wheelchair. So he just appeared there, or he was there for days.
Yeah,
I just love how they don't explain how he gets anywhere, he just does.
It's a very cool thing, isn't it? No.
And I also like how they're listening to him. They're telling him that he tells everyone that the Night King is coming, stay prepared. And he tells them that basically he has his contact information, he's going to be able to pick me up. So they start preparing around that.
yeah.
However,
Yo, my Uber's here.
I think the battle at Winterfell is going to be a distraction. Night King's not even going to turn up. I think the Night King is at the Citadel, which contains all of the humans' history so far. And as Bran explained, the Night King wants to get rid of the humans and their stain on history. So the dragons are going to go to the Citadel. Well, the dragon Viserion, was it?
Yes.
So Night King of Viserion are going to go to the Citadel, burn that down, while Winterfell fights against the
Army.
army.
That's not
That's a
bad.
good theory.
That's a good theory. To be honest, I forgot the Citadel existed.
Yeah,
But isn't that like over the sea? So it would take him a while to get there.
but he can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
and he has an undead dragon.
And what's his name? Sam
Sam
has
has the
taken
books.
some books, so he's still got a piece of their history.
Oh, yeah.
That's brilliant, and
Mm.
I love that because it would make also. That would just be like. Magic isn't the only important thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like that, because that's what kind of they've said. Like Bran is the important one because he has all this knowledge, but having the books humanizes it more.
The
and
show's always been about the family's legacies, their histories, what they always do
yeah.
in situations, and the history is very important to the Game of Thrones.
And this is cool because this is the big thing that the first time we actually kind of hear at least a theory from Bran, if not for certain,
Yeah.
what the Night King wants,
Yeah.
what the White Walkers want to do.
Yeah,
This is the only
'cause-
time we've actually found out what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, up until now we've had nothing. We just know that they're coming.
We've always known the typical zombie story. They want to expand, and Night King bad.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
god.
bad.
What the White Walkers like? Bad. Very bad.
That's something that George R.R. Martin has been really good about, though. He's never
Good,
given
really good.
us like one of those classic, oh, good guy, bad guy thing.
Like
Everyone-
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Where Sauron is bad. He's the bad.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Like perhaps we will see more in this season where we might be able to sympathise or empathise with the White Walkers, so that likewise, like Jamie is no longer like a bad guy.
Yeah, he's no longer the King
know.
Slayer.
Yeah, like he's done that with every character. It's not so simple, and I'm hoping we get to see more more like that, just so we can have more of a realistic villain.
Yeah. So again, when you asked who was your favourite character from the episode, Jamie again, but that's because it was straight away from the start. I mean, the knighting scene was beautiful.
Oh, that's incredible.
But the first scene where they were talking about all these bad things he's done, and he's basically just there like, I would do it again. It was if it was at that time, it was for my family, and I would do it again because of what it was meant at the time. It was war.
He's always done what he felt is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And again, he's doing that now by disobeying Cersei and going north.
Exactly.
He's done the right thing.
He's still there, and
Yeah.
he's like, I'm pretty sure if they wanted to, and they wanted to kill him because of what he's done, I'm pretty sure he would just stand there and let them do it,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
he is.
he's kind of accepted what he's
He
done
knows
now.
that
Yeah.
nowhere he goes now, he's going to be
Yeah.
accepted if he wasn't accepted in the north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh my god, amazing scenes. Him
See-
talking to Bran and all this stuff, like, it's great.
My favourite character this episode, Tormund.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
he was brilliant.
Actually,
Every
yeah.
scene he's in, he's a scene dealer.
Yeah, he really is.
I love Tormund.
Like, he just makes everyone laugh.
As soon as the first scene with him in, we were laughing, like, and
Oh, he jumps out the blue.
yeah, and it's. But the thing is, it's not a ridiculous thing. It's believable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It works within this world, and it works within the character. It's not, oh, that's just funny because it's funny. It works. Oh
Him sucking on the giant's teeth.
For
yeah.
3 months.
He was down in his beer
He's
as
just-
Brienne looks on in horror.
Yeah, he's
I
just.
hope they hook up.
I don't,
Yeah, although saying
like
that,
you said, I think she dies.
I think, I mean, for his sake, I think they'd actually make kind of a good couple.
Yeah.
In a weird way, but I actually think a better couple would be Jamie
Yeah.
and Brienne.
Yeah.
Because they've built that up, and they built that up even with this scene.
Yeah,
Like you were saying earlier, she's been knighted by the person that she
that was
admires.
so moving.
It was amazing. But I think, I agree. I think she might die
Mm.
because she has got all that, but she hasn't got that one last little thing that it's like. But
She's
the
got
show
his-
usually takes away.
She's
something.
got his affection, but not his love, like his actual, like, embrace.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hasn't. they haven't acknowledged that they love each other. I think they've known for ages, but then he obviously went back to Cersei,
Yeah.
and he did love Cersei, but very, very differently.
And as
he doesn't admire
Tyrion,
Cersei as much
No.
anymore.
as Tyrion said, Jamie knew what kind of person Cersei was all along.
Yeah, he just ignored it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, chose to basically just ignore that.
Yeah. So how did the... Oh, right, okay, we'll start to wrap up, but before we do, we'll just talk quickly about how the episode ended. So Pod was singing, and they were setting up for war.
That was a very Lord of the Rings vibe for me.
It was,
Yes.
yeah.
With,
I thought it was a
song.
really good way to do it.
Yeah.
So good.
And then you have Tyrion looking over, and kind of you see the fear in his eyes, and you're just like, oh my god.
And you see not only one of the White Walker generals, but a line of them.
Yeah.
The
You know,
mo-
they're
the mo-
not fucking around.
More than you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. As soon as it finished, I just went, how many? Like, obviously I knew that there
Yeah.
was...
You see on the battle map where you've got like a few humans there, then just like a giant array of White Walker squares that they represent.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realise before this how many White Walkers there actually are.
Mhm.
Yeah, they
Like,
only usually show you about
They've been
5
around
at
for
a time.
thousands
Yeah.
of years.
Yeah.
Collecting people north of the wall.
Yeah,
all the babies.
That's the thing. I looked at some theories before season 7, I think, and you know, this has been going, like you say, it's been going on for millennia, and we don't likewise we don't know how many there are.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what their life's like. You know, we just kind of assume that they just go around killing people, but they clearly are more sophisticated than that. They must have something else that motivates them in their
You've
day.
got the Night King, who's definitely in charge. The generals, who seem to have their own governance about themselves, where they can notice, and then you have the White Walkers, the undead, which are just mindless troops, which unfortunately is the perfect army. So they send the episode. They never tire, they never hunger, they just march.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They can do whatever he needs them to. Like, he could be there already. I'm pretty sure, like, they've planned it. The White Walkers have a plan where they're like, right, okay. Because they beat them to the Umbers. The Umbers.
Hearth. The Hearth? Something like that.
Yeah.
Malahide.
They beat them there, and then they had to go... Tormund had to go round to get back to Winterfell. So they obviously have a plan. They've had a plan for so long. They know what they're doing. This has been a long time in the wow, words.
Long time coming.
Long time coming. Yeah. So thank you for listening. Next time we're going to talk about again the latest episode of Game of Thrones after we've watched that. But we're also on Wednesday. A couple of us are seeing the new Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
film.
sadly I'm not.
Yeah. So hopefully, if we've all seen it by next time, we will probably talk about that towards the end of the podcast again. So we, spoilers. But
I don't know if I will have seen it by then.
if you haven't,
not,
then we
I'll
will.
just have
We'll
to
just
do
kick
what
you out of
everyone
the
else does
Yeah.
and
We'll scream like little girls.
unsubscribe.
Yeah, but we'll see. But we're definitely going to talk about the Game of Thrones episode at the end of the podcast again, and we'll figure out what we're doing in the week. Thank you very much for listening, and hopefully you'll join us next week.
Yeah.
Goodbye,
Cheers.
everyone.
See ya.
Still goodbye.